This day I have perfected for you your religion and completed my favor upon you and have chosen for you Islam as your religion.
In the beginning, three were created: man made of clay, angels made of light, and a third made of fire. Iblees has a very interesting story. Like us, he has free will, or had free will, because mankind and jinn are the only two beings that have the ability to decide whether or not they want to do right or wrong. As far as the angels are concerned, their only purpose of creation was to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't have this free will that we have. They were not created with the innate ability to distinguish between right and wrong. Their goal, their sole purpose, is to praise and worship Allah alone, and this is what they do. So one day Allah told his angels, "Oh my angels, I am about to create a being, creation made of clay." The angels replied, "Oh our Lord, are you going to create a creature on earth that will shed blood again and corrupt again?" Because they knew what the jinns had done. Shed blood again and corrupt again when we glorify your name and on you we praise. So from this you can identify, you can tell that the angels, they're afraid. They're not questioning their Lord, they wouldn't dare, but they're afraid. They're asking Allah, "Oh our Lord, have we done something to you?" Because they didn't understand what was going on here, as Allah did not explain it to them. In reply, the only reply that Allah gave was that, "I know that which you do not know." However, Iblees, or Shaitan, did not have this kind of character or personality, and one time Allah fulfilled his plan to create our father Adam a.s. When Adam a.s. was created, Iblees overheard what the angels had asked, and it spread, and everybody's talking about it. So Iblees thought out of curiosity, what's so special about this creature that Allah has created? Curiosity. And at that time, something began to develop inside his heart, a form of jealousy, and that's where jealousy came from. So he goes to have a glimpse of this creature. It wasn't too impressive in his eyes. It was made of clay, it was dark in color. He kicked it and it made a ringing sound, and he also had the ability to flow through it. And he thought to himself, "You are a weak creature." This is what he thought. As time went by, Allah left the body of Adam a.s. like this. So every time Iblees looked at it, he got scared of it. But at the same time, he's attempting to overcome his fear, and he says, "I'm better than you. You're not going to be better than me. Do whatever you want." Allah left him there until that jealousy got worse and worse and worse, and it ended up turning into arrogance. And Allah created Adam a.s. and put his soul into him, and Iblees didn't like that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam a.s., ordered the angels to bow down, and they all bowed down except for Iblees. He never prostrated. The reason for his refusal is قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُمْ, I am better than him. أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُمْ, I am better than him. Why? خَلَقْتَ مِن نَارٍ, you made me out of fire, and you made him out of clay. I'm from fire, he's from clay. So saying no to your creator requires a lot of arrogance and a lot of pride. And after a conversation, Allah says, "You are cursed, you are ar-rajim, you are Shaitan al-rajim." Shaitan then raises his hands and pleads for a request. He makes dua to Allah. He says, "Give me life until the day of resurrection." And Allah says, "We will give you time until the end of the world. When the hour goes, you will die with them." Shaitan then says to Allah, "These human beings, these creations that you created, the ones that I'm better than, I shall come to them." Min bayni aydihim means from between their hands. So here, Shaitan is actually threatening mankind. Verily, to you, he's an enemy, a clear foe, threatening each and every one of us, saying, "I'm going to get in your face." Allah then replied, "But my true servants, you shall have no power over them." And Iblees said, "Okay, I shall lead them all astray except those servants who are sincere." And these are the only type of people who Iblis and the Shayateen cannot get to, the ones who have sincere hearts without any hypocrisy. Iblis then makes the challenge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, "O Allah, you will not find a lot of them who will be grateful to you." What we're now going to discuss concerns matters of the unseen, meaning that nobody knows the nature of it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all know that the jinn are made from a smokeless fire, and this is a part of their nature. But based on the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they're not actual fire or flames or something like that. Yeah, the jinns have families. There are Muslim jinns, Buddhist jinns, Hindu jinns, etc. Good jinns, bad jinns. Not every jinn is a shaitan, and not every shaitan is a jinn, because we have shayateens from both the humans and the jinns. There are also disbelievers and believers from amongst the jinn. According to the Sunnah, you'll find 3 different types of jinn. One which has the ability to fly, one which comes in the form of snakes and dogs, etc. Also one that lives in a specific place, just like humans live in a specific place. They can see us, but we can't see them. One stereotypical view of the jinn you'll find is that they're all evil, this scary big monster. No, this is not true. You'll find that they have certain abilities which human beings do not have, but what needs to be clarified is that these are not superpowers or supernatural abilities. These are just different to our abilities as humans. In brief clarification, you should never associate acts or characteristics of divinity, the things which belong only to Allah, just because the jinns have a few abilities that we don't. Yeah, sure, some can fly, some have speed, some have strength, but this does not mean that they deserve any share in any of Allah's divinity, and this is a serious mistake that people have made in the past. Because the jinn could do some things that were not considered normal from the perspective of a human, and people actually attributed the attributes which belong only to Allah, and they even ended up worshipping them. If the whole world united in order to harm you and Allah wanted to save you, then they have no chance against you. Never give the jinns these characteristics. They're not worth this kind of honor. They're not worth this kind of daratheen. They're not all-seeing. They don't know the future. They're just a simple creature, and they die like humans die at an appointed time. Naturally, they're also afraid of humans, but when you start to fear them, actually the less you fear them, you will be more successful, sorting them out and dealing with them. But the more you fear them, then they take advantage of that. When you show them the surprise of, oh my god, the door shuts by itself, there's a pan floating in midair, I'm scared to go inside. This is their way of getting a reaction from you. The jinn are not all powerful. Most importantly, they are not fallen angels. This is a very important confirmation to make. Iblis is not a fallen angel, as angels don't disobey Allah and they never have. Iblis was, as Allah explains in Surah Al-Kahf, Iblis was from amongst the jinn, and he disobeyed the command of his Lord. During the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until the present day, many things have been associated with the Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, which are false. And one of these is magic. Some al-Yahud, some Jews attribute magic to the Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, and you'll find many secret orders which claim that they stretch back, that their lineage goes back to the Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. The most popular of these is Al-Masumiyya, the Freemasons, the devil worshippers. And many other mystical Jewish cults who practice magic, they're falsely claiming that they learned it from Sulaiman alayhi salam. They also claim their lineage stretches all the way back to the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam. The genuine truth is that there is magic. It does exist, but in terms of lineage, it only stretches back to some very early Jews, but not at the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam. The important question is, where did the Jews learn this magic from? That some exist until now, and it's very, very dangerous. Not like the cheap tricks, like pulling a coin out of your ear or a bunny out of the hat. I mean dangerous magic which can cause some serious harm, very serious harm. Who teaches this magic? The devils. What is the primary source of all this magic? It originated from Babel. And when you analyze the Quran, it puts everything in perspective for you, as Allah says, what was revealed to the angels in Babel? Harut wa Marut. there were two angels who came down to Babel and were teaching magic to the people with and by the permission of Allah. The ayat literally means that these are two angels who descended down with Allah's permission to test the people by teaching them an act of kufr, and they should strictly refrain from it. Only a portion of the Jews actually learned this knowledge. Allah has described to us the impact of such types of magic. As Allah says, they learned from these angels something which could cause a separation between a man and his wife. This particular kind of magic can cause hatred in the heart of the husband or the wife, and it develops more and more and more until it becomes unbearable. Eventually, it will lead to divorce, separation. The person who is engaged in magic, where is he coming from? What is his main priority? What is his main purpose? Because anybody who is engaged in magic is a servant of the shaitan. One cannot become a magician until he or she reaches the highest, the breaking point, the worst form of disbelief from which return is very rare. The shaitan promises him rich, promises in vain. People indulge in magic because of their desires, and this is the most common reason. Many innocent people are lured into practicing magic by reading about magic, saying, try this, it's good, it will make your wife love you, it will make your enemies hate you, it will destroy your enemies, say this, do that, perform these actions. Different people come into magic in different ways, some following their desires, and once they are taken by the shaitan, they then indulge in real magic. A magician is unable to practice magic without committing disbelief, without committing the unforgivable sin that is shirk. He cannot indulge in magic unless he becomes one of the most evil disbelievers of the law of Allah. Now when it comes to magicians, the procedures that they have to go through will give you goosebumps. It would make the hair on the back of your neck stand. They would make them eat frogs and insects. They would write Quranic verses in blood and step all over it. You will have to prostrate to idols, you will have to prostrate to the devils. These are all the different procedures which magicians must perform in order to gain the assistance of the jinn. That's why the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they reached the verdict that the act of magic is indeed kufr, a deed which casts one out of the fold of Islam. Which is why at the time when he was Khalifa, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, he sent a message out to all the Islamic states saying to kill any magicians. And one of the Sahabas radiallahu anhu said that we found 3 magicians and we executed them. Now Iblees or Shaitan sets his throne on water, and his followers, the devils, they come, they give him a report. Sooner or later, one devil comes and tells him, I didn't leave the husband and wife until I separate them. Shaitan replies, you are the one, come and sit next to me. So what type of defense do we have against the shaitan, the evil eye, the magic and the jinn? We have the most powerful weapon, the book of Allah, the Quran, the cure for every illness, regardless if it's related to the jinn or anything else, evil eye or anything else. Our next most powerful weapon is the dua and supplication, because it reminds us that nobody has the ability to remove or stop the harm and the suffering we are going through except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another weapon we can use to protect ourselves against the shaitan is, believe it or not, is honey. Because Allah has described it as a cure, a remedy. Allah says, there emerges from their bellies a drink varying in colors in which there is a healing for people. Indeed, and this is a sign for people who give thought. Also another point I'd like to make is anytime you see a ta'weez or any type of magic which has knots, you must be extremely cautious to get rid of all the knots. As Allah says in Surah Al-Falaq, from the evil of the women who blow on the knots. Another very effective weapon is your environment. Having an Islamic household, an Islamic environment, as this makes it very, very hard for the shaitan to enter into. It also makes the ruqyah a lot stronger. In another hadith, Rasulullah said that anybody who eats 7 dates will not be inflicted by any magic or jinn. So on that day, if you on the day he eats it, on that day you eat 7 jinns, believing that nothing will touch you. Wallahi, there will be no sihr, no magic, nothing that will be able to possess you.